I know a lot of dental assistants maybe aren't in love with what they do.
I think dental environments can be stressful. We've got patients that we're trying to see. We've got treatment that maybe hasn't gone as expected. We're running behind.
What happens if you're working in a practice where maybe those others aren't the great coworkers to you? So how do we bring a positive attitude in? What are some things that you've found that have worked for dental team members in the past? Hey everybody, Kevin Henry, the founder of Dental Assistant Nation. Thank you so much for joining us for another podcast. I love doing these podcasts and I love doing them whenever we talk about not only a hot topic, but I can do it with a returning guest. And that's what we have today with Monica Satake, CDA, EFDA, and a lot of other acronyms as well. So Monica, great to see you again.
Oh, good to see you, Kevin. Thanks for inviting me back. Yeah, I'm president of True North Training and Consulting, and I always love talking to you about this stuff.
Well, and this stuff that's a really important thing is how to be a great coworker. And Monica wrote an article for me because I'm also editor-in-chief for drbicuspid.com. So I hope you subscribe to those daily newsletters for free as well. But Monica wrote this article, and the minute she turned it into me, I sent her a note and I said, oh my God, we have to talk about this on Dental Assistant Nation.
You did.
Yeah, because I think that's what dental assistants need right now is that they need great coworkers around them, but they also have to be great ones as well.
Sure, yeah. I would say the biggest thing is having a positive attitude and making the choice to have a positive attitude before you get to work each day. The choice happens before you get there.
I'm so glad you brought that up because that's one of the points that you made in this article, and we're going to link to it in the show notes. Real easy for you to find if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on any podcast platform. And I'm curious because I know a lot of dental assistants maybe aren't in love with what they do. So how do we bring a positive attitude in? What are some things that you've found that have worked for dental team members in the past?
Well, I think enthusiasm is contagious. And so, I mean, we've probably all unfortunately had coworkers or maybe even have been the coworker that comes to work. And I know we have personal stuff going on, but maybe have come to work and been around a less than enthusiastic coworker. And so I think setting the tone and just choosing to be enthusiastic before you come to work, it uplifts the whole team. And so, we don't expect perfection every day because that is not attainable, but excellence is a good goal.
Dr. Roger Levin, who also writes for Dr. Bicuspid, and he's been on the podcast before, he tells me that he actually gives himself a pep talk every day before he goes into the practice. Have you heard about something like that with dental practices or dentists or team members?
Yeah, well, I can speak for myself personally. When I'm I have about a 40-minute drive to work every morning. And I can say that, first of all, the music that I listen to, what I'm putting in my soul and my brain, it's positive music. And I sing along with the music. I give myself a pep talk. And I have heard that, from a lot of people that are positive in the dental community that they do the same thing. And so I really want to consistently bring my best to the practice so it can set the tone that hopefully others will follow.
And again, Monica, whenever you wrote about being a great coworker, I think there are dental assistants who are listening to this that say, I am a great coworker. I do all these things already. What happens if you're working in a practice where maybe those others aren't the great coworkers to you? Well, how do you handle that?
Well, first of all, communication is key, and how you ask and set the tone for questions is important too. So I think having boundaries and respect for those boundaries, first of all, each person has a defined scope of practice. And so we have to respect one another's roles while also being collaborative. And so that actually helps prevent a lot of conflicts and maintains professional integrity as well. And I think it's okay, not overstepping and undermining others, even when offering feedbacks or suggestions. And I think we have to be a team that has a culture of being able to offer feedback and suggestions without people getting their feelings hurt.
In your years of not only working in a dental practice, but also being a consultant, how do we have those tough conversations where maybe somebody is not being the best coworker to us and it's impacting our attitude and our work ethic maybe?
Well, I think we've all heard the word empathy or emotional intelligence. And so I'll give an example. I think dental environments can be stressful. We've got patients that we're trying to see. We've got treatment that maybe hasn't gone as expected. We're running behind. Maybe, in our opinion, somebody's not picking up where they need to be picking up. And so a great coworker knows how to read the room. They can offer encouragement and support teammates during the tough moments, being able to see and analyze when having those tough conversations to begin with, when that's a good idea. So a kind word or a small gesture of help can make a huge difference. And then humility. I'm a big proponent of servant leadership and serving my coworkers. And so humility goes a long way. And if a coworker comes in and admits to a mistake or admits that they're having a tough day, resist the temptation to make negative comments about that, because next time it could be us that's having a rough day and we need the encouragement. So I think if you can always keep this in the back of your mind, this tagline, like, how can I help you be more successful? I think once we put the focus on helping our teammates be more successful, even that person that is a tough coworker, using that line will go a long way. I have seen where it changes the trajectory of the conversation when you offer to help make them more successful.
One of the other things that you pointed out in your article, and again, we're linking to it in the show notes, is the importance of continual learning and then sharing that knowledge. I love that because
Yeah.
we're getting ready to get into the fall trade show time of year where people are going to be, getting their CE credits and everything. How important is it for dental assistants to keep learning, even if it's not mandated by their state to do that?
Huge. Well, first of all, dentistry is an evolving field. So even in a state where you're not required to keep CEUs so that you can keep certifications, sharing insights, especially with new team members, and then staying updated with techniques or technologies makes you a valuable resource to your colleagues. And then as we learn together, we grow stronger together. And so I think always, in my certifications that I have specific classes that I need to take in order to meet those certifications and the CEUs and all of that stuff. But I'm always doing professional development on just personal communication and that kind of thing so that I can be a better communicator.
I think that those kind of things help us not only in the practice, but outside the practice as well.
Sure. In our
Yeah.
private lives.
Yeah. And I think maybe that's how we need to look at it is, how does this help me grow as a human? Maybe not
Right.
just a dental assistant.
Right. Yeah. And I think our character too, I mean, we want to be team oriented because we are a team, or we should be a team. And that's the culture that we want to create. Now, it may be more difficult, and I'd like to encourage you to keep at it, because if we're inheriting a team that's already been established, so sometimes it's hard to be the new person going in and helping create that culture. But again, that's where the pep talk in the morning comes in handy. But we want to be reliable and accountable to each other and to our patients. That's the big thing. And so we want to make sure that we're putting the team's needs ahead of ours, and for sure the patient's needs ahead of ours. And that might mean jumping into a place where maybe it's not your job title, but having the mindset of how can I help? Again, how can I help? And consistently watching to see. We get so focused on things that sometimes we don't look outside of it. And I mean, technology plays a huge role in that. We're glued to our cell phones sometimes at work and not paying attention to, oh, well, this person was put on the schedule, or, oh, hey, this person might need some help. I think just consistently watching to see what needs to be done, and a lot of times without being asked.
Yeah.
That goes a long way with me personally. If someone comes in and says, hey, oh, did you need this? And I didn't even ask for it. I'm like, what? That is awesome.
It's funny you say that because dental assistants are so often referred to as the mind reader for the dentist, but
right.
They can anticipate needs for other people in the practice as well.
Right, sure. Even the front office person, the hygienist, a lot of times hygienists maybe need perioprobing, and sometimes it takes them more time to find someone to ask for help than, hey, hopping in to just, pay attention to morning meetings are perfect for that. If the hygienist needs somebody to help perioprobe, having that conversation about, oh, I see a gap here. I would love it if you could come in and perioprobe for me without having to deglove and go find someone to come in and help perioprobe, because that takes longer than the actual probing itself sometimes.
So one thing I wanted to ask you about was the mission statement, because whenever we talk about being a great coworker, I think sometimes the mission statement of the practice really maybe sets that in its own words, because we'll read in there something about we treat our patients like family or a family atmosphere or something like that. How much should we rely on the mission statement maybe to help us be great coworkers for each other?
Well, the mission statement sets the tone for the goal of the office. And I think the mission statement, if somebody's maybe inherited someone's office, maybe the mission statement doesn't align with the core values of the current dentist. And so the mission statement sets the whole tone for the office. And I mean, I think it's a great idea to actually print it out and put it up where everyone can see it and be reminded of it often and maybe refer back to it during staff meetings. And the mission statement could change.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because one thing I talk about, and I want your opinion on this, I
Sure.
talk about it's important to have an updated mission statement to reflect who's actually working in that practice right now. Do you think that's important?
I do. So an example would be that let's just say you're a new dentist who has built a new practice, or you're acquiring a practice that's already established, and you have created a mission statement. Well, maybe your first mission statement is more directed at, new patients. How do we get new patients, and our communication that way and our core values that way? So just say 10 years down the road, maybe your mission statement changes. Maybe you want to retain the patients that you already have, and you want to change the focus of it. So I think it's good to reevaluate your mission statement. And I'm not saying every 10 years, it might be sooner than that. If you had somebody else join your practice, maybe you sit down in a meeting and talk to them about what their core values are and what their mission statement, and combine that. So,
All right, and here's the big question. Can dental assistants suggest maybe a revision of the mission statement or looking at it in order to update it as a team?
oh, I think so. I think anytime you can get input from staff members, it may not change, but anytime you can get input from staff members, we want the team to have a vested interest in the success of the practice. And so I think always having a listening ear as a practice owner, having a listening ear to those things that the staff would want to have input on regarding the mission statement is so valuable.
Hey friends, I'm heading to Nashville this year to speak at Accelerate the Dental Revenue Workshop. This isn't just another event. It's packed with real strategies, real solutions, and the kind of insight that actually moves your practice forward. If you're ready to grow, lead, and finally make your systems work for you, grab your ticket. Use my code KevinH to save $150, and I'll see you in Music City.
So again, the article is How to Be a Great Coworker. And dental assistants, I know often many of you are already that, but I think there's some great nuggets of knowledge in this that I want to encourage you to pick up. And Monica, I want to make sure if people have questions after they read this article, how's a good way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so my email is monica.tntc@gmail.com. My website is www.truenorthtrainingandconsulting.com. Either one of those will get you to me.
And we're going to have all that in the show notes as well. We try to make it real easy to find. And also, I want to encourage you. Monica, as I mentioned, has been a return guest, is now a return guest, I should say, on the podcast. She had a great podcast with me on onboarding and some tips on onboarding dental assistants. And I want to make sure you go back into our archives and check that out, because there's some really great pieces of advice in there. So, Monica, it's always great to hang out with you. And again, thanks for writing this article, and thanks for following up with our dental assistants about it.
No, thank you, Kevin. I always enjoy my time with you.
And thanks to all of you who listened to this episode of the Dental Assistant Nation podcast. Again, we know so many of you strive to be great coworkers, and sometimes it's going to take you taking that next step and maybe helping others in the practice be great coworkers so that you can enjoy your day and your career a little bit more. And that's what we're all about here at Dental Assistant Nation. Until next time, it's Kevin Henry, founder of Dental Assistant Nation, signing off, and as always, wishing you nothing but success ahead.